So in the first class of SQL, in which we are going to cover the SQL part of data analytics, I have few questions to all of you. So before actually starting the SQL procedure, I just want to ask you questions like how many of you exactly know why you are learning data analytics? Like there can be n number of reasons why you want to learn data analytics, but right now in the chat box, I want answers like one-liners from all of you, like why you are preparing for data analytics. And please tell me the correct reason. Don't sugarcoat your reasons. Just tell me the correct reason why you are preparing for data analytics. Okay. Please be interactive in the class. I want answers from all of you. Okay. Sneha is saying good money to level up in my profile, to gain more knowledge on SQL, to get a decent job market. Data is never ending. So there is always a scope to learn and continue. Like Saithi, it's the best answer that I have got till now. Prachi, interesting fields and diverse career opportunities to get out of support job. Okay, nice. To upgrade my skills. So, see, first we'll try to understand. So, before starting SQL exactly, we'll try to understand why data analytics. How many of you know when a person is hiring you for data analyst role? So, for example, if Amazon is the company and Amazon wants to hire data analyst, anybody can tell me why Amazon will hire a data analyst? Suppose let's take an example of the sales team. So suppose Amazon is hiring for their sales team. Now from the sales team, I am basically meaning that the complete sales department, like how many people are purchasing, how many people are doing the transaction, how many people are ordering, what kind of people are there, what are their best things, what are the reviews, rating, everything that is related to sale. So for example, if you go on Amazon, once you check the product, you check the price, you book that product, your details are getting stored once you log in on Amazon. Then once you pay the thing, your transaction ID and details are stored in Amazon. At the same point of time, when you are ordering something, you see a review section in which you try to understand whether this product is good or not. You do all these things. And after doing all these things, you go on the transaction page. So it's a step-by-step process. So for example, I am a new person. I want to buy a pair of Nike shoes. So what I will do is I will first go on Amazon. I will create an account on Amazon. So once I am creating an account on Amazon, all my personal details that I want to share with Amazon, including some mandatory details like mail ID, will get stored in will get stored somewhere. Just take the example as somewhere. Now, after this, what is the second step? Now you will try to search for the shoes. So now when you are searching for the shoes, there must be something or some place or location where all kind of shoes are stored or data for all kind of shoes are stored, and you will try to fetch out the Nike one. Now, once you are searching for the Nike shoes, you will go for a price range. So, for example, you are taking a price range of 10,000 rupees. Now, when you have seen one shoe that you are liking, now what you will do is you will try to purchase it. But before purchasing it, you will want to see reviews and every section. Am I audible? People are saying that I'm not there.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yes, we are.
Yes, audible.
Yeah. So now after purchasing, like after seeing the 10,000 rupee shoes, the next step will be like reviews. So basically in India, we see the review. And I think in outer countries also, we see the reviews. Now, after seeing the review and the things, I will click on purchase. After clicking on purchase, I will fill my card details, everything, and there will be a transaction. And after doing the transaction, I will get a order status. After getting the order status as completed, what are the other things that we can do? Tell me now. If an order is getting completed on Amazon, what can be the possible next steps?
Delivery date?
No. So order is basically completed.
Sir,
If the
payment.
store in the database, like the order is
So let
accepted.
me give you an example again.
Write the
Just give me a minute. Someone has drawn something. Please don't try to do these kind of things. Okay. So now the thing is order status has been done. So basically the order is getting completed now. An order is completed. Now after the order has been completed, what can completed means order has been delivered. So after that order delivery, what kind of things can be possible?
Return.
Return, correct. Return and refund. So these are the possible things that can be there when you are doing something. But tell me one thing, in all these things from starting till last, what you think, are all these details stored somewhere?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if these details are stored somewhere, what kind of like first thing, forget the point where these details are stored. Let's be on the point. What are these details? So basically, these details are data itself. So how many of you know what is data? Like what is data? If you are going to be a data analyst someday, you must be aware of what kind of thing is data. So any one of you can explain me what you understand from data.
Adds value to what we do.
Okay. So for example, I will give you two examples. So suppose I am waking up in the morning, I am taking a tea, and after that I'm doing my lunch. Then I'm going to office, and I'm coming back from the office. So if I want to store all these details and want to analyze myself for 1 week or 1 month, can I improve myself? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you all agree? So if we track our things, if we do our proper timetable and we try to analyze, then we can improve ourselves. So just understand, if Amazon is hiring for a data analyst, what they are expecting you to do to improve their what?
We need to organize the
quality, organize
No.
data
Improve
and
their
data
data
Improve
quality.
their
database.
quality and improve their sales, even if some
Okay.
sort of
See, if I
feedback
am a
are there.
business, if I am a
Profitable for
businessman,
business.
correct. The correct word is business. So Amazon, if Amazon is hiring for a data analyst, their first point of focus is they want to hire a person who can solve their business problem and can help their business to grow with the help of something which is known as data. So for improving business standard and for improving everything that can be sales, that can be customer relationship, that can be refund tracking, that can be review section or anything, to improve all these things, these big companies want someone who can analyze the problem and bring some powerful and meaningful solutions with the help of data. Is this clear to all of you?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, as in the previous example, you agreed yourself. Like if you will track yourself, you will make something there. So that is the main thing. So now, what you think, what kind of place it will be where all these kind of data is stored? There must be a place, or there must be a something in which we will store this data. What kind of thing is that? Like what kind of thing is that?
Database.
Database.
Okay, so people are saying database. Nice. But
Data sets.
no. Database is the correct term. So if you want to store data somewhere, you need a storage location, which is known as database. Now, I have one, like I will not explain the complete thing to you for the next example, but I'll give you example. Suppose there is only 100 GB of data. So if you have 100 GB of data and the company is not very big, you can store the data in the database only. Correct? But if you have data like Amazon, like millions and millions of people are there in Amazon, and they are doing everyday transactions, so which you can imagine what kind or how much data will be there. So can a single database can like take all the data? Whether a single database will help them to
Mm.
to manage all their records and everything? The answer
No.
is no.
No.
They need multiple databases, or they need multiple databases kind of machineries where they can store their data, and that storage is known as data warehouse. So for storing big data, which is big amount of data, some companies which are very big, they use data warehouses. Now my task is not to make you explain data warehouse right now. I'm just giving you an example so that you can understand. So now our topic is database. So database is a storage path where all the collection of data is stored. Now the question is, when we are storing data somewhere, what kind of data, what kind of data it will be? Whether it will be a file format data, whether it can be a text data, it can be a HTML document. All these kind of things are data only. Now what kind of data we are going to study in our next classes? Anybody, any answer?
Tables.
Tabular
Structured
format
data.
of data.
Structured data.
The structured data.
So structured data is something like, see, if a data is already structured in some format, you don't need to do any further cleaning and other things. See, it requires, but if we are getting into a term of structured data, in our case, we have something known as RDBMS. So how many of you know what is RDBMS?
Relational
Relation database
Relational
management system.
database.
Okay, so we know what is database. So database is basically where we will store our data. We know why we hire data analysts. You know what is the actual task of a data analyst. Now, whenever you are learning for a database, when you are trying to understand the database, in our scenario of data analyst, and if we are going to learn SQL as a language, we have a database which is known as relational database management system. Now, how many of you know what is relational term? Like if I talk about this term relational, what this means?
interaction between two databases or two tables.
It's
No,
related to rows and column, like combination of data.
correct. So relation is basically intersection of rows and columns. Now, tell me if I want to ask you, suppose my name is, like, let's take an example. Suppose there is a column name, there is a column phone number, and there is a column, you can say, colors. So if I'm telling you this in the form of a columns, it will be very easy for you to store the details. But for example, if you don't have something in your mind, like you don't know how to create a table, or you don't know what is a table, and if I ask you to write your family name, in front of your family name, their phone numbers and what color they like, and if you store this data in a single line or in 2 to 3 lines, whether it will be structured enough to understand for other people? Tell me, if I tell
No.
you to write, no, the answer is why it is not understandable for other people. Only you will be able to understand, but other people will not be able to understand, or there will be nobody to make an analysis on that until they make it a structured data.
Because that is
So
unstructured data.
yeah, the point is why we are working on relational database management system, because in relational database management system, data is stored in the form of tables, and tables are basically the intersection of rows and columns. So now each and every data that we are seeing inside the database is in the form of tables, and it makes it very easy for us data analysts to get interact with their data and find out some meaningful information from it. Got it?
Yes.
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 So now, when we know that what is data, what is database, and what kind of relational data, like what kind of database which you are using, which is relational database management system. Now, my next question is, why SQL? Why we actually need SQL? So first of all, tell me what is SQL? I'm not asking about the full form. Everybody knows the full form. My question is, what is SQL?
SQL is a
Language.
It's a kind of recycle bin which can be used to store the data.
No, no, no. Why recycle with? SQL is basically a programming
It is.
language.
it's a programming language which store the database in 2D form, in two
And it's
dimensional
manage the
form, in
database.
the form of array and
Okay, okay,
tables
okay,
and
okay, okay. Let's break it. So see,
SQL is a
people are
programming
giving the answer, but that answers are not fully correct. So let's so Mudassir is saying me, can you please repeat again what is RDBMS? So Nasir, RDBMS is basically relational database management system in which data is stored in the form of tables, which is intersection of rows and columns. So each data that you will see in this RDBMS tables, it will be in the form of tabular structure, something like that. So now, why SQL or what is SQL? So SQL is a programming language. See, if there is a language, which means we have to communicate. So if I want to communicate with Pallavi, or if I want to communicate with Pragya, what I have to use? I have to use a form of language. So people who are not able to speak, they will use sign language. If I'm able to speak, I will use like language Hindi or English. So right now, SQL is a programming language, which means this language is used to interact with something and fetch out some information from that. So if I am talking about SQL in IDBMS, what SQL is a structured query language that is used to interact with our database and to get some meaningful information from that database. And it is also used to create the database and create the tables inside it. But if you are a data analyst who is going to work for a company, tables and everything is already created. Now you need SQL to talk with the database or talk with the tables and fetch out some meaningful information from that. Is this clear what is SQL?
Yes.
Okay, but why it is called a structured query language? Why the term structured is used? The term structure is used because, see, you cannot directly write a SQL query with anything. You need to follow some order. You need to follow some structure for writing SQL queries. That's why it's known as a structured query language. In the further classes, you will know about the order and structure, why we call it a structured query language. So now, after structure, the second thing is query. So you know what is a query? Tell me, what do you understand by the term query?
Question.
Okay,
Used for
so
retrieving data.
basically, query is something to ask questions. A question. Query means question. So you are asking questions in a structured format from the database with the help of a structured query language. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So now you know what is SQL, but what is the need of SQL? So you know we have to interact with databases, we have to interact with tables, we have to fetch some meaningful information from that. But the main thing is actually why companies are so much curious about SQL, why they need SQL a lot, why they ask difficult interview questions, why they want a good SQL person, why they don't focus that much on other skills. There must be something in SQL. So Hamad is saying SQL is used to structure the data with help of query. No, Hamad, SQL is basically used to learn. Like SQL is basically used to interact with the database in the form of a structured query. So understand, you are asking a question in a structured format with database, and database is giving you information in the form of tables or in the form of things that you are asking to it. Shubha is saying SQL is the standard language for dealing with relational database. Correct. Yeah, SQL is the standard language for dealing with the databases. Now tell me what kind of databases you have heard in your life. See, you have heard RDBMS. So in RDBMS, there are different kind of databases. So tell me what kind of databases you have heard in your entire journey from the day when you started going into data analytics.
MongoDB.
How many of you have learned about, how many of you have like listened this name Oracle, Postgres, MySQL, SQL Server? Anybody of you?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So now I will tell you why companies use MySQL and SQL Server a lot. So I will write all the things: MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle. Please turn off your mic, all of you, and our Postgres. So let's understand why these four and on which we will work in our complete journey of SQL. So MySQL and SQL Server are basically used, like most of the times they are used for D-1 kind of data. And I will make you understand what is D-1 kind of data. So if you are looking more on historical data, or if you want to fetch out the result from the data like D-1. So suppose if I want to look how many transactions are going in Amazon today, I will not be able to do it with the help of SQL Server. But if I want to see how many transactions are performed in Amazon previous day, like yesterday, we will be able to easily fetch that information because MySQL and SQL Server can hold a large amount of historical data. Hive also comes into the picture. So these Hive, MySQL and SQL Server can store more amount of historical data. But what this Oracle and Postgres do? So Oracle and Postgres are basically used for real-time data processing, for getting real-time data. So suppose I have bought something from Amazon at 8:25 p.m. Please turn off your mic. See, don't Harish, turn off your mic. Okay, so now just understand, if I am doing a transaction from Amazon at 8:25 p.m. and at 8:26 p.m. I want to get the result, like I want to get the details of that transaction, or a data analyst who is working with Amazon wants to get the details of a transaction that Durgesh has done at 8:25 p.m. So what kind of database he will look into it? Tell me what kind of database he will look if he want to get the transaction 1 minute or 2 minutes back.
Oracle and Postgre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Oracle.
there is a limitation as well. See, if I'm talking about real-time data processing, Postgres and Oracle are very fast, but there is one limitation also. They cannot hold a large amount of data. They cannot hold a large amount of data. They can hold like 5 days, 10 days, or even 30 days of data. But after that, they've become slow. And there is processing issue and other things as well. You don't have to go in that deep right now, because my task is to explain you just kind of databases in a very brief sense. But just try to understand, most of the things that we will do will be on this Hive, MySQL and SQL Server. So now if I talk about Hive, MySQL and SQL Server, which we are going to learn in our next classes, just try to understand these are 90% same. So 90% same. What I mean by 90% same is the syntax or the language that we are using to write the query in SQL Server or MySQL Workbench or Hive are 90% same. So even if you are learning SQL on MySQL Server, or even if you are learning SQL from MySQL Workbench, 90% of the queries or 95% of the queries will be same. In 5% remaining, there can be little syntax differences. What is D minus 1? So D minus 1 is today minus 1, which is yesterday. So if I'm going to take out data for yesterday, I have to run it today. So now this is the 90% scenario or 95% scenario. So which means even if you are learning Hive, MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle has different syntaxes. Like it has lot different things. In Postgres also, like 85 to 90% things are same. But Hive, MySQL, and SQL Server that are used in a lot of companies, maximum companies, these people use these kind of servers, and there is 95% of same syntaxes and things by which you write the queries, but 5% can differ. And yeah, Prachi, you can ask the question.
I have this question, like you mentioned that MySQL and SQL Server can only process one, like yesterday's data.
Yeah.
I mean, the yesterday's data gets updated today.
Yeah. So Prachi, it is not the exact thing that I'm telling you. So I'll explain you. So suppose let's take an example, because if I go on typical technical language, then it will be difficult for other people to understand. So I will tell you an example. Suppose Amazon has a database and Amazon is storing transaction details. So there is a process by which data is coming from a user and getting stored in backend. And this process is done with the help of pipeline. And so there is a pipeline which process the data at the same point of which process the data for today or for yesterday. Like let me give you a good example. So let's take an example of Amazon. So Amazon has two kind of data. So you can take a real-time data scenario and a old data scenario, and old data is basically D-1. So there are two things that are known as batch processing and real-time data processing. So now when we are talking about batch processing, suppose I am a shopkeeper and I have a small database which is known as shop database. So from morning at 10 a.m., my shop opens, and from morning 10 a.m. to night 12 a.m. At 12 a.m. is the time when my shop gets closed. So 10 a.m. I started, and at 12 a.m. my shop gets closed. Now, during this complete 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. cycle, I have not stored any data. I have not stored any data in database. So I will write not stored any data in database. But as soon as my shop gets closed at 12 a.m., I poured all the data from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. in my database. So I did all the things at what time? 12 a.m. And I poured all the data from morning till night. Which means I am doing something. So for example, if anybody wants to find out the data for today at 12 a.m. or at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., will he be able to get this data? Tell me, Prachi, if anybody wants to find out the data at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. for this shop, will he be able to get that data for today?
No.
No. When he can get that data?
12 a.m.
After 12 a.m. So this is known as batch processing, in which what we do is we create a batch kind of thing in which we store a certain time limit of data. And once the batch is completed, we pour all the data into the database. So this kind of data is known as D-1, and the servers can be MySQL Server, MySQL, or Hive. Now, in the real-time process, what happens? Suppose a transaction comes at 10 a.m. At the same time of 10 a.m., it gets uploaded. And now you will think how these things are getting uploaded, how these batch things are getting uploaded, or how this real-time things are getting uploaded. So these kind of things are uploaded with the help of pipeline. This is known as pipeline. And pipelines are created with the help of data engineers. And the codes that are used for that are from language PySpark. So basically they use PySpark a lot, or they can use a Spark a lot. So you don't have to go into this detail. I hope all of you are able to understand real-time and batch processing. Is this thing clear to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a nice question, Prachi. So basically, because of your question, people are able to understand what is batch processing and what is real-time data processing. Now we'll not go that deep because our agent, like Pankaj, hi Pankaj, you can ask your question.
Yeah, I just want to know that where is the in this whole scenario, whatever you explained to us, it's very nice and that it's very good information is there. But just I want to know that where is OLAP and OLTP is fit in this scenario.
Okay. So basically, if you talk about like in pipeline process, so I will give you an example. So this OLAP and OTP are like OLAP and OLTP terms. So basically, you know that this is online transaction processing and online analytical processing. See, these terms are basically a part of a data engineering machinery. So when's the transaction? So in these kind of terms, everything is based upon transaction. See, who has asked this question?
I think earlier Prachi asked and then I asked.
No, Pankaj, you asked a different question. Prachi asked a different question. So
Yeah.
Pankaj, after this class, you can contact me on WhatsApp. I will explain you this because the point is, if I explain these details, OLAP, OLTP, and everything, see, the agenda will get little distributed.
Okay.
I hope you understand because many of the people who are here are not that much good. Like they don't know OLAP, OLTP, and all these things. We know this thing because we are working. And many people are freshers as well, and they don't know these much terms. So if you have any question that is related to a different thing, you can directly ask me on WhatsApp. I will help you. Got my point? Okay, so let's talk about the other things. So now we are good with the table thing. We are good with the RDBMS thing. And we are good with the relational thing, structured data, and all these things. Now, let's go to a different process. So now our second process is basically for which things or for what kind of things we will write the query. So now, suppose, let's take an example. So now I will give you a new example. So suppose there is a person, Sai Tejas. I got his message in the last. So suppose Sai Tejas is there and he wants to open a company. He wants to open a company. Now, when he wants to open a company, suppose in his mind, he has hired 100 employees. And his company name is Sai Group. Now, tell me if he wants to store the information of all the employees and all the departments and everything related to employee, what will be his first step? Tell me. He has
Creating
had
employee ID.
the first step will be he will create a database. For storing information, what we need? We first need a database. Correct?
Yes.
Is this correct? Now, after creating the database, what will be the second? So for example, in his company, suppose in his company, he has 10 to 11 databases. So in his company, he has 10 to 11 databases. So first database is employees database, second database is department database, third database is projects database, fourth database can be clients database. So now if he wants to store the information of employees, which database he will look into? Employees database, correct? So now how he will get to know that the information that he is going to store after some time is getting inside employees database only? He must have to use something, like he must have to use that database for storing information in that database only, because there are 7 to 8 databases. If he will not tell in which database he wants to store the information of employees, data can be scattered anywhere. So tell me, what will be the second step if we want to store the data?
Create table.
We will
No.
create data table.
Use that
Use employees.
database. The second step after creating the database is use that database. If you will not use that database, all the information you are storing will be captured on SQL Server, but you will not be able to fetch that information in a structured manner. So whenever you are creating a database, the second step that you have to do is you have to use that database. And after using that database, all the things, all the creating tables, writing queries, or anything that you will do further will get stored and saved inside that database only. Is this thing clear to all of you? First, you have to create the database. Second, you have to use that database.
I'm sorry if my question is incorrect, but what is
Okay.
the difference between using of database or storing the data in database? Both
Okay.
doesn't give the
Okay.
same meaning?
Okay, I will tell you. So suppose there are like 5 to 6 databases already. Suppose there is a XYZ company which has 5 to 6 databases already. Now you have to store the details of employees. And now there is no database for employees. So first, for what will be your first step? You will create a database.
True.
Yes or no?
True. Yeah.
Now, when you will create a database with the name employees is created in your SQL Server.
Perfect.
Now, what will be the second step? So if I will not tell the details, I will directly write create. So I have just created the database, and the second query is I am creating a table.
Table, yeah.
How this table will get to know in which database it has to get inside?
We'll
Select employee and then we can
we'll
create
select
a
that
table.
employee and only then we'll start creating the table, right? I mean,
No,
employee
no, no,
table.
no, no. Yeah,
Use
correct.
Yes.
So thus you told me now, you first you will select that employees database and then you will store the information. So
Correct.
that is something known as use database.
Okay. Got it.
So first step is to create a database. Second step is to use that database. Now, after using that database, what is our third step? To create the tables.
Yeah.
And see, this is the scenario, like all the scenario that I'm telling you right now is a scenario which we have to learn. But this kind of scenario is not used in companies a lot, because in companies, tables are already there and you have to write queries and fetch out some meaningful information. But the part that I'm telling you right now is also important, because many of the times, like not many of the times, like 2 to 3% of the times, you have to create your temp tables or you have to create tables on your own as well. So for that kind of thing, I'm telling you these details. So now you created the database, You use that database because you want to be sure that the information that I'm going to put inside it will get stored in the same database. Now, the third thing will be creating the tables. Now, for creating a table, what are the things required? For creating a table, what kind of things are required?
Rows and columns.
Information about the requirement.
Table name.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's write all the things.
Yeah.
So first, the thing which is very important, which is table name,
Correct.
very important thing. Second thing,
Number of columns.
no. Second thing is structure of that table. You have to define the structure also, na?
Okay.
So for example, if I will not define the structure and directly I have written a column which is name, a person can come and store name Durgesh Yadav in that name column, or he can come and store a phone number in that name column. He can do anything, na? So we have to define a structure that this column is responsible for these kind of values. This column is responsible for these kind of values. So that thing is known as the structure of the table.
Hello,
Now,
sir.
yeah, say.
Sir, structure of table means int, varchar, those things.
Correct. The structure is of the table is defined with the help of data type and constraint. So I will tell you what this data type and constraint is. So suppose, let's take an example. So if you want to drink water, or so just take an example. Suppose in kitchen, we have different kind of things. We have sugar, we have like wheat, flour, everything we have. But if we want to store sugar, we must have a container in which we will store it. Can we store can we store sugar in water bottle, which contains water inside it? For storing sugar, you must need a container which holds sugar as a value. In all your homes, there must be some containers in which you store a specific kind of raw materials. Yes or no? You must have an oil bottle. You must have a sugar bottle. You must have different kind of containers and flasks in which you store these kind of things. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now data type is something like that. So data type is a container which holds a specific kind of values. So it's a kind of container which holds a specific kind of values. So if I'm talking about a container which holds a specific kind of values, so when you are creating a table, you have to tell the table or you have to define a structure. So structure is something like that. If I am creating a name column, I will store values which are like name only, which is Durgesh Yadav or any other value. But it's not like we are storing a number which is 788 my phone number. We cannot store something like that. So we have to define a structure that name will hold some specific kind of values, phone number will hold some specific kind of values, and employee ID will hold some specific kind of values. So for all these three columns, we have to define a container for them. And that container is known as data type. Now, what is constraint? So I told you, structure of the table is defined with the help of data type and constraint. Now, what is constraint? So constraint is basically set of rules that you want to apply on your table structure. So suppose I will give you example. Suppose there is a phone number column. All of you know that everyone has a different phone number. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So if I'm creating a table with a name, if I'm creating a table and I'm storing information of Durgesh, ABC, and DEF. So three people are there, Durgesh, ABC, and DEF. And if I will enter the name, like if I enter the same number for all the three people, like the same number 788 728 9947 for all the three people. If I enter something like this, whether it will be correct or not?
No.
No. So to avoid these kind of things that you can do, you will do you will make a simple constraint there, which is known as unique. Now, this unique constraint will 100% do a thing that if once a phone number has been entered for a person, not a other phone number same as that the previous phone number can be there for any other people. So constraint are basically set of rules. Primary key is also a set of rules. So see, I will explain you all this primary key and foreign key in the other class. Today, my thing is to explain you a basic overview of what is data type and what is constraint. So constraint are the set of rules that are applied on the column to specify a structure and a rule for them. Got it?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now you have the thing table name, you have defined the structure of the table name. Now what will be the third step? To insert record in that table. And records basically means rows. So insert records in those tables. And after inserting record in that table, the job is done. And we have our table ready. Now, once the table is ready, we will use SQL to fetch information from that table. Can you repeat constraint? So Ajinkya, constraint are basically set of rules. So suppose I will give you an example. Suppose I am creating a age column. So you must have seen when you are going on government sites to apply for some examination, there is a when you enter any age, it tells you the age must be greater than 18, which means they have applied a constraint in the backend, and that constraint is telling you that if you have an age greater than 18, then only you can apply for this role. So that is known as constraint. So if I want to create a column which is named as age, and I want to check whether all the people are greater than age of 18, then I will use a check constraint. Check age greater than 18. So my column name will be age. My data type will be int. So int is a data type which is used for numerical values. I will explain all these things tomorrow. Just giving you an example now. So data type is int. Constraint is check age greater than 18. Now, whenever a person is going to put value inside this age column, he cannot put a value less than 18. He can put 19, 20, but not less than 18. Second thing, he will not be able to enter a value something like this, Durgesh or Yadav. The value will be in the numbers only, and the age will be greater than 18 only. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Thank you.
nice. So that's all for the class today. So this was a class for 1 hour in which my task was to explain you a overview about data analytics, SQL, RDBMS, database management system, so that from the next class tomorrow, you will feel comfortable and you will feel energetic for the next classes. I hope I make things very clear to all of you. And if you have any questions, now you can ask. Okay, Shreya Srivastava is saying me, can you please repeat? I like in the previous batch or two previous batches, I have one girl with the same name. So can you please repeat data type? So data types are basically the containers which hold some specific kind of value. So if I'm creating a column name, just tell me, if I'm creating a column name and I am giving it a data type, which is varchar. Just example, we'll explain you these things tomorrow. So varchar holds only values which are alphabetical or string values. So now if I have given it a data type varchar, and I'm writing name here. If I put a age, if I put something like 16, Shreya, whether it will take 16,
No,
it will not take, na.
no.
So that is the thing. So data types are basically the containers that can hold a specific kind of values for which you have opted them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed the class, and thanks for joining, because